Guys, what is going on? Well, look who came out to play today. This is my GSXR 600. Absolutely adore this bike. One of the most fun motorcycles that I have ever ridden. And I get to ride it some more today. So I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about something that, well, I typically catch myself saying a lot, and I want to expand on that, and that is ergonomics. So we got the bike up to temp. Let's get a quick sound check. I like it. Stock exhaust with that GP style slip on. Time to have some fun. So it's almost like a nervous tick with me. You would think anyway, as often as I'm talking about the fit. And I'm always talking about how a bike fits. But I never really go into detail as to what I'm talking about with that. You know, I suppose fit can mean a lot of different things, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get this girl on the road, have a little bit of fun with her. But for now, we're going to have a quick horsepower break. Coming into carousel. Nice and toasty. Where's our bump? There's our bump. Bridgestone S22s. Doing S22 stuff, which is be awesome. And we got a no traffic, all clear. Let's get it. All right. There's something about being comfortable with your bike. It makes all the difference in the world. You know, you could have your eyes on the bike of your dreams, and then you sit on the thing, and it's like nothing really comes into place. See what I mean? I almost said fit. So when you first sit on a motorcycle, it's just set up as it is from the factory. Suspension set up, where the clutch lever is, the brake lever is, where the shifter lever is. And in some bikes where the rear sets are. This is all set up from the factory. And it's just a starting point. I mean, not even getting into suspension, because that's a whole different conversation. But just the way that the bike feels when you sit on it, how the bike feels while you're riding it, you know, the static versus dynamic comfort of the thing. It all does make a big difference. So, you know, there's always a lot of talk about modifying your bike, right? And what's the first thing you start talking about? You know, exhaust, the tune, you know, how much more power can we make out of this thing? And yeah, that stuff's important. But you know, it's all about how the bike feels, and everybody's individual electrical system, you know, the way that you're wired is different. And it's crazy too. You know, I can have two motorcycles with the exact exhaust and make, model, and tuning and everything else. Two identical motorcycles, and if you were to set it up for your specific level of comfort, it might be completely different from what I would want. And so when we're talking about customization, one of the easiest ways to make your bike your own is through those adjustments. And here's the thing, there's some rules of thumb when you're setting up clutch levers and brake levers and things like that, but what I'm trying to explain here is those again are just places to start. It's whatever is comfortable for you, and You know, you might sit on a bike and that clutch lever just seems like it's way too high. You want to lower it down. Same for the brake lever or the shifter lever. This is an area where a lot of guys tend to forget that you can adjust your shifter lever up or down. So if you're wearing boots versus tennis shoes, where you're going to be comfortable and how that shifter lever fits on your foot is going to be different. So it's the little things like that, that once you start to get into the adjustments of the bike, you can really start to make that bike your own. And I'm not kidding. I've sat on identical bikes with just minor differences in setup, and it was immediately obvious that what I thought was comfortable was not going to be what somebody else thought was comfortable. Speaking of comfy, let's get this thing on the side of the tire, have a little fun with it. Setting up our favorite little S-turn, picking our line, dropping her in, mid-power, wide open, on the brakes, grab a little bit of a downshift, trail braking, into our favorite pair of stop signs. Hello, fellas. Oh my goodness, I love riding this bike. It is so good. But no, getting back to it, you know, where the foot pegs were completely different. The clutch lever, the brake lever, in completely different time zones, relatively speaking, right? Totally out of place for me. But again, perfectly comfortable for that person. And that's what makes bikes so cool and so unique. You know, think of it like its own unique way to be only yours. You know, you might find that, oh yeah, I really do like the clutch lever up a little bit more. Or as your skills progress, you might find that having that clutch lever too low when you get off on the side of the bike, you don't have that reference point. You know, you always see me with a couple of fingers on the clutch lever and one finger on the brake. Those are my reference points. And again, if you're just more upright riding, more cruiser, you might want to have a little bit more of a downward turn. But again, it's all about what works for you. And, you know, it's kind of funny because, you know, you'll hear guys talking about, well, you need to have this angle and, you know, all this other BS, whatever. I hear that stuff too, guys. I guess for me, a big one is the clutch, the brake levers, but really it's the shifter lever for me. That's the one that always gets me. I always find myself fiddling with that. But you know what? Because these GSXR middleweights have such slick shifters, you know, the gearbox is just so buttery. I mean, really, as long as your foot is in place, you're good. It doesn't take a lot of movement to shift these bikes, so you can really bring them nice and high. It makes it more comfortable, for me anyway. Speaking of being comfy, on the GSXR 600, I gotta say, you know, with everything that anybody has to say about Gixxers, Gixxer this or Gixxer that, these bikes are so good right out of the box. And one thing that I did notice, you know, a lot of guys like to put the adjustable clutch levers, brake levers, things like that on their bikes. I think that's great if that's what makes the bike more comfortable for you. I love it. The Gixxer middleweights, for me, I've never really felt like I needed those other levers. But again, you know, I've put ASV levers on other bikes in the past, and I felt like they really needed them, and it worked out great. It's just that, yeah, you don't see them on this bike because outside of stock, I really didn't need anything else. But there's also, I mean, if you want, you can always put aftermarket rear sets, which are your foot pegs on a motorcycle, and get even more adjustability in your bike and make it even more ergonomically suited just for you. So really, that's what I mean by fit. You know, each person is going to be different, and you know, there's always somebody that's going to say, you don't need adjustable levers, or you don't need adjustable rear sets. Yeah, maybe you do. And there's nothing wrong with those parts, putting them on your bike, making your bike much more your own. I love the 600 so much. There is something just so, I don't know what it is about this bike. It's just so, it puts such a big, dumb, goofy grin on my face whenever I get to ride this bike. But yeah, I literally just got through adjusting that shifter lever, and I thought, you know, I'm always yammering and rambling on about this fit. You know, bike's got to fit right. So I figured I would try to explain a little bit of that for you guys. But oh man, what a fun ride. Well guys, listen, if you made it this far into the video, consider smashing that subscribe button. It helps out the channel way more than you know, hooks me up with some of those YouTube algorithms. But I'm going to get this bike back out on the road and have some fun. Listen, fit your bike out for you, and it'll be even that much more enjoyable to ride. And it might make you a little bit safer too. Anyway, with that, I'm going to check out. Y'all take it easy.